I'm going to go ahead and try to get our guest on now if I can.
Sure, absolutely. We're going to be bringing on right now. We're going to discuss Red Pill Black, who she was a girl who ran Social Autopsy, or is still allegedly currently developing a website called Social Autopsy.
Right.
But she claims to have recently been red pilled, and she's conservative now. And a lot of people think she's full of shit, including a couple of people that we're affiliated with. So we reached out to Leaf, who reached out to a gentleman by the name of Bunty King, who, if you want, check him out, Real Bunty King on Twitter. And he is he's
I think we have him. Hey, Bunty King, how you doing?
You got me. Sorry
how you
that.
doing?
Let me just mute my sorry, I do apologize.
No, it's no problem, man. I was just introducing you anyway. So Bunty King is one of the more amusing and original, I would say, sort of right-leaning personalities on the internet. And he gets bonus.
I don't know if I'm super right-leaning.
But I mean, by today,
I'm right-leaning on some things. More fiscal matters. I'm a little bit more right-leaning. When it comes to like immigration, it's a little bit more right-leaning, just in terms of like I want like people to be, a little bit more.
Well, I'm just saying that by today's standards, anybody left of anybody right of, like, let's say Bernie Sanders is kind of right in this country anyway. Bunty gets bonus cool points because he got into shit with Tariq Nasheed, and everybody hates Tariq Nasheed. So Bunty King is with us now, and as far as I understand, you have a little bit more information perhaps about this Red Pill Black situation.
Only a little. I would say the stuff that's been given to me really has been through my community of friends, right? So people like Shoe on Head, Andy Worski, and all that. And of course, my main criticism of her really has very little to do with the fact that this site existed. I mean, I couldn't really give much of a shit if someone were to acquire my details. Like I would say I'm pretty easy to find in the sense that like you could find me if you really wanted to. And I haven't tried to hide myself. I haven't tried to hide my first name or anything like that. So for me, a site like this doesn't really affect me. So I can't be like personally really pissed about something like this. Okay. The thing that really got me, and obviously though, I'm willing to acknowledge the fact that it is just I'm going to go ahead and use this word, a bit of a problematic site to have around, considering the stance that people have on doxing. I do think it's bad. So that's a given, right? But the main controversy isn't around the fact that she had this site. It's more the way she reacted to people reacting to the site. Obviously, people were going to react negatively to it, especially people within the skeptic community. And of course, they talked to her about it. I went ahead and I tried to DM her. I mean, I DM'd her before I even said anything about it. I didn't make any videos. I just wanted to kind of get her on my show. I was like, "Do you want to be on the show? Like, just let's talk about whatever this is." No response. And it's like, come on, like for me, it's a little bit, I find that to be a little bit irritating, that she couldn't respond, and then went on to say afterwards, who's the person with the hot mic? Someone's got a hot mic here.
Yeah. Hey, Leaf, can you mute your mic if you don't mind?
Yeah, she's obviously got something going on.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, so anyway, continue.
Yeah. So essentially, the main thing that I had, an issue that I had with her was when she started blocking dissenters. And when she was blocking dissenters, she wasn't blocking like people with like 10 accounts, 10 followers, saying, telling her that she was a bitch or something like that. She was blocking people who were, obviously asking her or critical of her decision to withhold certain bits of information about this site, and not be fully honest with it. And then, of course, we saw the things happen with Dave Rubin. We also saw the things happen with Paul Joseph Watson, where, like he was like really sketchy about when he covered the site. He's like, oh yeah, that was from 4 years ago, and really it was just a year ago that he had written an article about the site. Chris Raygun had mentioned the site, a year ago when this girl was supposedly a liberal. It's just there's just a lot of like dishonesty involved in this whole situation. And that's the thing that I took issue with. Is the fact that she was blocking people, not because they were harassing her, not because she viewed them as maybe a threat to her, to her security, but really just because well, obviously she viewed them as a threat, all right, but not to the degree like she viewed them as a threat in the wrong way. Like if people who are asking you questions are viewed as a threat, then you're not really an honest person, in my opinion. Well, so then I kind of upgraded it a bit there. I was like, all right, so you know what? I called her out publicly. I said, this isn't it kind of how to be? I was like, how like this is how you look sketchy, essentially, in 2017 by blocking people who are your dissenters, and that's something that's wrong.
Yeah. Now, I'm just curious. Yeah. Now, because you did mention that, as far as people like you're concerned, people like me and Royce, we've been doing shit like this for years. We're not worried about people finding out who we are. Very easy to locate, as you said. But you gotta admit, as you said, it's a little bit of an issue for, a guy that may not, because the idea now of what is hateful and what is wrong, I mean, it's real easy to get a brigade going on somebody for an out-of-context quote. And I mean, when a guy, is working at a Pep Boys or something and he's not really, like, you could, fuck this guy up when he's living in a trailer park and he works at Checkers and he gets fired from his job because he went to a rally or something and he held a stupid torch.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And I agree. I like, that's where the issue is, right? And that's why obviously the site is bad. And it's just the manner in which she's addressing everything that's really, really shitty. Like, I don't know exactly what she said. I do know that she's tried to make this whole thing seem like something that Richard Spencer has done, which, from a marketing perspective, I can really see that kind of playing well to the side of like normal conservatives that aren't alt-right. And I feel like this is really very much a play or a work of sorts that's going to get, regular conservatives closer to the middle, because here's this woman that's very charismatic. She's a black woman. She's pretty. She's saying she's talking all the right talking points. She's anti-political correctness, anti all this crazy SJW stuff, but she's also anti Richard Spencer. And she's being propped up. She's being propped up regularly now through this. So obviously, like, her past being being scrutinized is gonna not be a good thing for her. So she blocked a lot of these people. So I can see the marketing element of it, and I can also think that in the long run, someone like Candace Owens is gonna be a good thing for the right, in the sense that it's gonna bring people more towards the middle.
But don't you feel that some people might view her as being a tad bit insincere?
Totally. Oh, 100%. She is insincere. She's 100% sincere.
She's basically a black Laura Loomer. She's like a hot black version of Laura Loomer. Like
she I would say that she, like, I don't, like, the thing is, like, I've spoken to Laura Loomer on a personal level, so the questions that I would ask Laura would be really just a kind of about like normal things, like, like what's going on in life, asking her questions, like she'd ask me some questions about what it's like in Montreal and stuff like that, and just talk basic, like, surface level stuff. But I followed Laura on Twitter. We follow each other, and I've seen the stuff that she posts, and I definitely don't agree with a lot of the stuff that she says. So I can understand the comparison. I do think that that Candace Owens has a little bit more of a she's not as easily disregarded as Laura Loomer. When Laura Loomer posts stuff, a lot of people like jump on her and like talk shit, right? Yeah, but with Candace Owens, she really doesn't, because Candace Owens has this very, she has less of a, I would say, less of a crazy vibe than Laura Loomer would. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying that Laura Loomer is crazy. Like I said, I really don't know Laura Loomer that well, but I don't think that I just think that she has less of a conspiratory vibe. Now she's kind of talking about the conspiracies, which are a little bit strange, but I really feel like it's just damage control for her, the best she can manage.
Yeah.
Isn't Candace calling everyone like CIA plants? That's like everyone that disagrees with her.
I really don't know. I really don't know what she's saying, because she blocked me.
I'll say Leaf has a little bit of more background and is a bit more passionate about this young lady. What do you what is some of the, because I'll say this. I don't like the insincerity. I don't like the making a video where you're like, yeah, Richard Spencer's going after me, and she kind of makes it almost she kind of money. Yeah, but she insinuates like they're physically going after her, and then you find out people are making mean comments on Twitter, and that's not really, going after you.
The thing about Richard Spencer is he didn't even say anything mean. Literally just linked a couple videos of people criticizing her, and she's like, Richard Spencer has launched an attack on me on Twitter, and everybody's like, dude, what? And she's like, donate to my Patreon. I was like, hey.
No, she's very insincere. Very insincere. I agree. I agree wholeheartily. I mean,
so why? So I just feel like that then she wouldn't be an asset on the right, as far as like, yeah, she's.
I'm sorry, this is gonna sound really bad. A lot of people want that token black person and they want that token black person to be on their side because they want to say, oh, look how progressive we are, guys. We're not racist. We're accepting this black person into our community. She's on our side.
But if she's not in, like, she doesn't buy any of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, then what's
it's blind faith. They want so badly to believe that she is on their side that they'll look past the sketchy.
I think there's a lot of people. Okay, so there's a lot of people on the right, from what I've seen based on my interaction with the right, who are so tired of being called racist because they're not racist. They're just people who are a little bit more conservative. They don't necessarily want to kill babies, you know, and you know, there's things like that. Like, see, even that for me, like talking that way is like is a right talking point because the left doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that abortion is killing babies, and it's okay. But I'm at the point where I'm like, listen, you want to abort a baby? Go and abort a baby before a certain period. That's my thinking about it. But at least tell yourself or acknowledge the fact that you're killing a fucking baby. You know, like that's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
but people don't want to say that, right? So that's the thing, right? So there are these people who exist who have these right-wing ideas but aren't racist, you know, and it's really annoying right now because the right has been labeled as just in one large stroke as a bunch of racists, and of course people like Richard Spencer don't really help that. And of course, when you do have right talking points, obviously you're gonna get conflated with racists because there are racists on the right, but there's also racists on the left, but their racism is masked in a way that's very odd. It's in the sense that, you know, like, oh no, poor black people, poor brown people, poor minorities, we need to pop them up. They're poor, they can't really do anything. That's their talking point. So that's their form of racism, you know. And of course the whole white hatred thing. So they definitely don't like white people. So, but this idea right now that exists that and the right are racist. Someone like Candace Owens can really help can really alleviate that, you know, because she's very black, you know, she's not like when I say she's very black, I mean that sounds so fucked up.
You know, that's really trying not funny though. That's really trying. I mean, she's the last one.
I mean, was that a joke? How black is she?
Yeah, but she's a black educated woman, all right, who is right leaning,
who don't need no man,
who you can probably swear around, who you can probably talk about uncomfortable shit around, and she won't lose her shit. That's the vibe that she gives, right? Now, how well are you gonna get to know anyone? Like, there's very few people like me that exist online where I'm just like kind of ready to pour out whatever I feel. Like, I'm not. Like I feel like most people, if they follow me enough, will really be able to get an idea of what kind of person I am, right? Nobody who follows Candace is ever going to be able to get an idea. So for her, she's going to be a right-leaning figurehead for people to kind of follow. And these people who are just these normies who have right leanings are going to just eat up whatever she says because she caters to them. She panders to them, and that's something that's I think inevitably going to get a lot of these people who are center right to kind of stay in the center right as opposed to go to white nationalism and stuff like that. So I think that she is a good thing, even though she is insincere. But they could also be a bad thing because if more people start to catch on that she's insincere, so she needs to fix her act, because if they catch on that she's insincere, it could definitely push more people over a little bit further or send them just completely off the right and into the left. You know what I mean? Like, it's like. I just see a bit of a long game happening here, which is why I can see a lot of people like Dave Rubin and, once again, Paul Joseph Watson, Alex Jones, and all these people vouching for her.
Yeah, it's just really sketchy when that site was still active and accepting submissions on the 24th of this month, and she didn't delete the website. It's on Park, meaning she still has access to all that information, and whenever she sees fit, can relaunch the website. And it's I mean, like. It's concerning, and it's not even only adults. She's encouraging children to essentially dox each other. It was if someone at your school says a mean thing to you online, here, just send us their information, what school you go to, where you're from. That's such a bad thing to encourage children to do.
I can't trust anybody who ever in their life had an idea like that. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is a fundamental point. Even if you renounce it, it's like. To me, that's a weird thing to turn off.
And it's also kind of weird that she, at least, you know, the optics of it to some people is that she used the conservative movement as cover the moment she became victimized for what she was doing, because she even said, I mean, I've heard her interviews, that she started doing this because, you know, she was super progressive, and she always was, and her family was, and all of a sudden when those people started attacking her, she immediately, you know, turned. It's kind of a weird transition. I know everyone has their own moment, at least most people do, when they got red pilled, to use the term. But it just seemed like for her it was kind of convenient. You know what I mean?
I mean, when even Zoe Quinn's calling you out on your shit, like.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't trust anything Zoe Quinn has to say ever.
I don't trust Zoe Quinn.
Wait a minute,
she was telling Candace that this isn't a good idea, and Candace was like, "Oh, Zoe Quinn's being mean to me." It's like, if Zoe Quinn's telling you you're doing something bad, you're probably doing something bad. Like,
yeah,
she's not the best judgment of character, and she's not. She's done some questionable things. I'll be nice and use nice words today.
On this show, you choose to fucking use nice words? What's wrong with you?
Listen. There's a tiny child in my house. I have to be careful what I say.
All right, calm down, Dan Schneider. Relax a little bit. Dial it back. You can have your pool party later.
Yeah, no, I would just say that I definitely don't trust her. I mean, that's just a given. I feel like anybody that's even remotely skeptic will not trust them. You know, like I have stopped trusting people for less. So, I mean, yeah, she's definitely untrustworthy. You know, like recently, I don't know how close you followed this, but the whole Mouthy Buddha thing that happened, that kind of like shook my trust in him based on his associations, you know, like the fact that he's associated with the alt-right, the fact that he has alt-right buddies, even though he's had these friends, you know, since he was 14, before they had formed their political opinions and stuff like that. It just still tripped me the fuck out, you know, to the point where I was like, well, I don't know if I can trust him really well. And then anytime Mouthy Buddha's around anywhere, some guy named Braving Ruin pops in and just starts, you know, going off about his alt-right ideologies. So that happens too. So like, then I'm just, you know, and I don't trust the alt-right at all, at all. They're definitely sneaky. Their tactics
we've had our own. Oh yeah, we've covered it ourselves. We don't trust Spencer.
We have a suspicion about Spencer. It's really weird how he just became this poster boy, and how he's the dude, and everything seems kind of.
He's the only one who's kept all his accounts and his blue check marks.
Yeah,
intact,
like there's people that do less than him, that aren't alt-right, that get suspended or whatever.
No, there's people that do less than him that are in fucking jail right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're being fair. So
no, what he's definitely like, the thing is like people like him, people like Tariq Nasheed, they all these people, I'm pretty sure now I'm at a level where I'm being watched by the government for sure. Like I know for sure. Like if they're not stupid. The government knows exactly what they're doing. They're for sure following me. Like, and I feel like these accounts like Tariq Nasheed and Richard Spencer are definitely honeypots for extremists. Yep. Definitely, and as well as these other accounts that kind of like skirt the lines. You know, they're definitely being watched. There's no way they're not being watched. So I think that a lot of these people, like a lot of these problems that we're talking about, only exist online, and they're never they rarely leave the online realm and then come into reality. I mean, unless you're going to Berkeley at a specific, you know, rally or like anything like that, like I don't know, man. I haven't seen any like uptight SJWs walking around my neighborhood. I haven't seen any you know, alt-right dudes walking around. I haven't seen these peoples. I haven't seen these extremes because I don't live. The reality isn't as extreme as is presented online, where people suddenly have this outlet where they can be anonymous and then say whatever crazy shit they want to say, but they know that if they were to say this stuff in real life, they wouldn't be able to say it.
Well, and they also all have like 7 alt accounts, so they pump up their numbers, and it looks like, you know, wow, we got, you know, all these people behind this movement.
It was weird when we were criticizing Richard Spencer. There was a couple of shows
when your name is
before our show started, we had like 6 or 12 dislikes before the show started. We're like, what the hell's going on?
But yeah, when somebody has like 15 accounts, they all have a picture of Pepe and the name's Keckenstein. You know, you're like, all right, dude. You know what I mean? Don't count those as the fucking. Don't do Hillary Clinton fucking polling and believe all those numbers. Those people don't exist.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, and I think it's important. Like we were saying right before you're on, that I think the reason conservatives are doing so well now and starting to make a big push in the culture movement is because there's so many different type of conservatives, all the way from Ron Paul libertarian to, you know, right-leaning centrist to Richard Spencer's, but everyone kind of coexists really well because I think we do a really good job of policing ourselves. you know? I mean, for the most part, there's big things. We do a big job policing ourselves, you know, and like Hollywood, where, you know, 30 years later, Kevin Spacey's trying to, you know, sleep with a 14-year-old. You know, we try to nip it in the bud, at least the best that we can, you know, because I think that's a big part. I think a lot of people are waking up about the hypocrisy.
What, morality?
Yeah, or morality's a good word too. That's a
rules,
good one.
facts. Yeah, that's why the right's winning, because people are like, wait a minute, we tried this experiment for 25 years and everything's a goddamn mess now.
Very good point.
So maybe, look, I'm not saying become super alt-right, but, you know, hey, maybe go to a church on just Christmas and Easter. You know what I mean?
No, you know
like,
what?
maybe just fucking do some basic things once in a while. Do some basic calisthenics. Don't get drunk and fuck people randomly all the time at parades.
I know. I agree. And I think that it's kind of it's really kind of tragic, like, that we've come to this point where I guess I've always been right-leaning in that regard, because for me, like you know, sex is sacred. Like, I have slept around, but it's never been like something that I just didn't make me feel right afterwards. I didn't feel good. You know, like after I've had sex with someone who I love, I gotta skip. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm like happy as I'm so happy. I could do anything. You know, like for me, that's the level of like, you know, that's the level of joy it brings me, right? But like, I feel like a lot of people over like the last, you know, like I would say last decade, have kind of lost their hold over morality, over just being a good person, over like, you know, realizing that, you know, you don't have to have this super ultra hedonistic lifestyle to feel alive. You can be grounded. You can restrict yourselves from certain things while being able to explore yourself or open yourself up to a variety of other things, you know?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I'm in a different camp. I'm basically somebody who wasted a solid 10, 15 years being a total degenerate and being all into liberal stuff and don't judge anybody and live your life. And like, yeah, I did drugs, I partied, I fucked a lot of strippers. And like, now, you know, now it's like in your 30s, I'm turning around and I'm going like, all right, dude, like this is, maybe I had it all wrong. And I'm, you know, it may seem hypocritical now to be like, oh, well, you had your fun. It's like, yeah, but it wasn't that fun. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm paying for it now. And it's, you know, maybe you do fucking, you know, like I said, go to church on Christmas and Easter. I'm not saying go every Sunday, but once in a while, reset your brain, ground yourself a little bit, realize the world's a little bigger than you, and realize that, you know, tradition and honor and things like that aren't the worst thing in the world. It's actually okay to be like a fucking real button-up cornbread Midwestern guy. Yeah, it's really not that bad.
It's okay to say good morning, ma'am, and open a door. Like it's all right, you know.
I agree.
I don't know, man. Apparently, opening doors for women is now considered sexist. They might like fucking flip shit on you for it.
Well,
catcalling I've never gone out of my way to open a door for a woman, but I've always been the type of person to leave the door a little open for someone when they're coming in behind me. So that's just something I do. The only time I'm ever going to open the door for a woman is if they're, once again, my significant other.
Right.
And like, you know, I want to put a baby in them. That's the only time. That's the only time like I have like that level of chivalry.
I walk straight in. And
I usually just open the door for anyone I can, even if I have to go out of the way to do it.
Oh, old people.
I don't
old
care.
people.
Old people, of course.
Old people usually, yes. It usually ends up being old people that I do that for.
If I'm walking in a store and I see somebody behind me, I just look straight ahead. I walk in the store and then I lazily kick the door behind me. Back open. Like, there you go. Fucking asshole.
At least it's something.
Fuck this 7-Eleven. I don't care. I barely ever come here.
I find that, like you said, you know, being you end up, as you get older, you begin to realize that life isn't all just, you know, fun. It's you have to kind of you know, there's certain rules that you need to adhere to get ahead. And once you start to really picture those rules and see them and like really kind of like you know, abide by them, you end up just being naturally a little bit more conservative with your life's choices.
Yeah, and then everybody, when you get older, you start to understand more your mildly racist, cranky uncle from when you were a kid. You know, when you were young, you were like, what's his problem? And then you get to your 30s and you're like, I wasn't all that bad. I mean, yeah, he was a little fucked up, but, you know, he meant well for us.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's important, you know, for there to still be some sort of standard for society in some way, because, you know, what we see is when you let everyone do their own thing, you know, you have, you know, guys with dicks and dresses that if you call them the wrong name, you're the asshole. And it's like, I'm sorry, but
yeah, I'm not memorizing 37 different gender pronouns. I'm not doing it. I refuse.
I will be.
I'll let you take my guns first.
I understand what there's a way to be a basic good human being without abiding by the litany of new rules that come out every single day. I mean, you can't. Everything's an aggression. Just be a good person, man.
Yeah, just be polite.
Yeah,
that's all. That's what it used to be when I was a kid.
No,
nice.
That's really it. Be polite. Like I think that people forgot that. Why have they forgotten that? That's like the dumbest thing I find. It's just that like.
We've somehow managed to convince ourselves that we're more progressive and enlightened than ever, but we've never been in worse shape in this country as far as people's attitudes.
Sometimes I think it's hard to be polite because when I feel when people are like getting like really fucking hostile towards me, I get heated, man. Like they're making me feel like shit, so I want to like fucking be mean to them.
Well, that's
meaner.
That's the reaction. Like, here's a good example. We live in Orlando, pretty big city. It's Florida. Everyone's kind of rude when you walk down the street. They're doing their own thing. Like, and I went to Minnesota recently, right? And it's weird. It's weird because there's this encapsulated part there where it's like everyone's you're walking down the street and I'm not used to it, and people are like, "Good morning." I'm like, "Hey, what do you want? What do you?" Because,
love it.
No, I love it too. But it takes some readjusting where you're like, "Wow, these people are like." We were walking someplace and this lady walked up and just for no reason other than being nice started talking to me and my wife like, "Isn't it beautiful here?" And I'm like, wow, there's still people out there that are human.
And this is outside of big cities, right? You'll always see this outside of big cities, and that's what I really love about this whole small town mentality. A lot of people say, small towns, they're really racist. You're going to meet a lot of racists there. I don't think that you will, because once again, these small towns also have this one rule that they adhere to, which is just be a nice person. They don't want to fuck with anyone. They just don't want anyone fucking with them. I mean, sure, you're gonna go to these places that probably have like racists and stuff like that, but it's not the same thing. It really isn't. It's not. They're so far and few between. They really are.
And that's why the left's argument's falling apart, because they spent years making fun of flyover states and these goofy fucking cornbread Christian weird, homophobic people. And then you drive through. Yeah, they exist in small numbers, but then you drive through the country and you just see a nice family after church, a Chick-fil-A eating, nobody's fucking their kids. And you're like, wait a minute. These guys are, the fuck are you screaming and reading at them for?
Really
like, leave these people alone.
I have a cousin from New York who came here before, and he was very sketched out. He's like, people here are suspiciously friendly. Like he was so not used to it, of how nice everybody was to him. He was expecting people to, like, I don't know, start fights with him and everything.
Go ahead.
Go on. Go on.
I get like there's something about like I'm big city phobic. Like I live near Orlando, but I try to live outside it because I like visiting New York. I have a lot of friends there in LA and shit like that. But whenever I'm in there, there's this weird tension always. Like I don't like something's about to always go off. Like I don't feel calm. I feel like, if you're not walking fast enough, people are screaming at you. And I'm like, that weird hostility is I think what needs to be quelled. People need to calm down. Don't look at your phone all the time. Look at people. Talk to people. Hey, if you don't want to rush to work, leave 10 minutes early. That way you don't have to be an asshole and run someone over in the subway.
I agree.
Well, anyway, we're getting close to shilling time. So do you guys have any? I mean, we got Unapologetic Canadian Leaf, of course, and then Bunty King. It's Real Bunty King on Twitter.
Yeah, Real Bunty King on Twitter. You can just type in Bunty King on YouTube. I'm actually going to be doing a live show at around 7 p.m.
Cool. Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Check that out.
We subscribed to you earlier today, so we're going to check.
Whenever you pop on, we will see you. We hit the bell, too, as we've learned. Hit the bell.
Oh, I appreciate that. That.
But, man, thanks for being on. Anything else you want to plug?
No, man, no, just no, I'm not at all. No, thank you so much for having me. Are we done?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna probably just probably roll out. We're gonna do a little bit of shilling and stuff. And then, but I just want to say, dude, Bunty, I'm actually starting to. I really dig his stuff, man.
Yeah, it's great. And by the way,
you're a hilarious dude, man. You are a really snarky fuck. And by the way, also, I'm jealous of your hairline, and I hate your hair.
A lot of people in the chat they're jealous of your beard and your hairline. I do a good beard, but I go with bald on top.
You are what I would call
enraging,
annoyingly attractive.
Enraging.
Thank you. No, I haven't been doing as many videos recently on Twitter because I find that I'm doing more content on YouTube.
Right.
But And plus, I just feel like there's nothing really kind of going on. I mean, there's stuff that has been going on. Like I did the whole, red pill black thing and stuff like that. Anytime anything pops up, I'll do a video, But yeah, no. I find one thing that really gets people annoyed is the fact that I do Twitter video. The fact that I can reply to someone with a video so easily, so comfortably, like it trips them out. Because a lot of these people need setup or stuff like that. They need to or they don't really like showing the face because they don't feel confident. So it really bothers them, especially when they hear my laugh. They're like, "Oh, he's got to be fake. There's no way that laugh's real." No, it's very real. It's really real.
Ever. If you've never heard it before, you need to find one of his videos where
no, absolutely. I'm going to go down the YouTube hole. I really, really, really like what you're doing, and I appreciate anything that's funny because you could sit there and listen to these people talking about the country's falling apart and the sky is falling, but you still got to laugh. You still got to have fun. And like I said, it's important to have people out there that are fighting the other side of the culture war, where it's not just
with humor and snarkiness.
With humor and snarkiness, which is fun. It's okay. It's all right. And
it's to me, it's what's going to win the culture war.
Yeah,
dude, Jon Stewart changed the goddamn game a few years ago with that stuff. Like he changed the game by making it cool and funny and fuck those Midwestern hicks, and it worked for him. But now they're just serious and angry, and they're all just parrots on comedy.
Fucking Keith Olbermann.
It's true, man. Keith, that guy's out of his fucking.
You know what? Hold on, we're not going to let you go yet. We're not letting you go yet. I wanted to talk about Keith Olbermann. All
right, but we don't want to get too into it because tomorrow we're going with Pat
but
Dixon
a little bit. This asshole starts fucking yelling at Lauren Southern for her flag costume.
Tommy Lauren.
Sorry.
I know,
all the right-wing blondes, forgive me, kind of mixed together.
I like Lauren.
I know. But anyway, I'm kidding. But anyway, she had this flag costume, and he started quoting a flag quote about how it's against the rules. And then the cover of his book is him wrapped in a fucking American flag.
Yeah,
I know.
A real American flag. Tommy Lawrence wasn't even a real flag. The flag code only applies to an actual fucking flag, which a lot of these people seem to be missing for some reason. I'm Canadian and I know this. Like, why?
When I saw Tommy Laurent's fucking costume, I swear I came red, white, and blue. But also, to be fair, I also have a prostate problem, so I should probably get that looked at.
Yeah, I like Tommy Laurent. I do. I also think that Keith Olbermann is way too serious. I think that it calls the show The Resistance or something like that. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. Plus, I don't like the way he uses Twitter. He reposts his videos multiple times to hit multiple time zones, I guess. And it's just so annoying and obnoxious. It's like, dude, you're not using the platform effectively. Doesn't really talk to anyone. Doesn't really talk to his followers.
Sometimes he'll spurg out on Trump randomly and then go back into his
No, it's just for me, I don't really like he's fake.
I love that he looks like he's crying with the flag wrapped around. It's hilarious. He looks he looks like just that standard soy boy. What kind of fucking coffee or tea do they give out at MSNBC? What is it in their water? It's pure estrogen.
Sorry, but this reminded me.
Chris Hayes is another one. He's a woman.
Did you see the BuzzFeed guys, the Try guys went to go have their testosterone checked out?
Yeah,
and all of them.
But it got me scared. I'm wondering if my testosterone's been lowered.
Dude, not with that beard. Not with that goddamn beard.
And I really should work out more. I'm like, okay, maybe I should work out. Maybe I'll fix it a little bit. It'll fix my testosterone a little bit. I don't know. I got to do something. But it scared the shit out of me. But they have testosterone pills.
Yeah.
I'm scared. Scared. I'm like, I don't want my testosterone to drop to the point where I'm these guys. Yeah. I want this. I'm definitely not those guys.
Dude, don't worry. You're not those guys. Not with that manly ass beard. If I saw you with that beard on an airplane, I would ask you to be removed.
It's very funny. Hey, thank you, Bunty King. Leaf, anything you want to plug? Anything you want to plug, Leaf?
No, I'm good, guys.
All right. Hey, thank you, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for setting us up, Leaf.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye, dude.
Bye-bye.